effort with E15 Robot Lawnmower.
Welcome to Saturday League Kickoff.
Hello and welcome. It's Saturday League Kickoff, and to all our viewers through Fox League and all our listeners through the entire SEN network, hope the weekend has started off a great one, like myself and AP. And thanks to Eufy, save time and effort with the E15 Robot Lawnmower as well. It's a massive show. It is a huge show. We've got so much to get through in the next 2 hours because the finals are in full swing. Of course, the Melbourne Storm moved through to the last Sunday of the NRL season. And that is the 11th grand final in 23 seasons under Craig Bellamy. And who they meet, well, we're going to know by 6 p.m. Sunday afternoon. We've got the NRLW grand final qualifiers. We've got the New South Wales Cup and Queensland Cup grand finals. We've got the Jersey Flag grand finals. All that and a whole lot more. AP, action-packed.
Action-packed. And 3 special guests as well on the show. So, yeah, heaps to get through.
Yep. Is that off-white, that shirt this week?
I couldn't decide whether I'd go the bone, the cream, the ivory, the white, the off-white, the beige. Have I pulled it off?
I don't know. Apparently
is it better than the lilac
Apparently
one?
your daughter picked it out for you, so it's going to be a pass mark for me. Now, what we love about this show each and every week is your involvement. You can text the show at any stage, 0457 736 736 is the number. Hillstorm Hillary, Mad Manly, Melbourne fan, already texting into the show. And for our Kiwi listeners, 8833, or if you're watching through Fox League as well. But we also love your phone calls. 1300 01 1170 is the open line. Now, it is a massive show, like we said. Dally M favourite, Roosters captain. Will he be back in a green and gold jersey? James Tedesco is going to join us on behalf of Tempur and 40 Winks. He's at the Alexandra store live this morning. Now, the Friday night review as well between Melbourne and the Sharkies. The big news of the week was, of course, Marky Mark. There's the Victor Radley allegiances amongst whether it's Pacific Championships or the Ashes Tour as well. We're going to preview the massive game tomorrow. Now, this is just mouth-watering, this game. It's got matchups all over the park. Not only on the field, but in the coach's box as well. You know, a lot of people wanting Michael Maguire sacked at the start of the year, and they're through to a grand final qualifier, which usually means you're doing something okay.
He's done an incredible job. And there was a period there, they lost 4 games in a row, and his critics were coming for him. And he just, he held firm. He knew what he was doing. He believed in the process, and look at where it's gotten them.
Exactly. Now, for Olympium as well, we're going to do our deep dive like we do each and every week. And we're going to chat to Perth Bears, just recently appointed recruitment manager Dane Campbell, an exciting period for a new club. I was fortunate to do this with the Gold Coast Titans when you get the ability to have an open salary cap, no one in your roster, and you get to fill that day by day. It's an exciting process. We're going to catch up with Dane Campbell as well. Also, our team in focus, the New Zealand Warriors, got through to the finals, of course, bundled out in week 1. But their CEO and a great friend of the show and a very good rugby league man, Cameron George, 2 first names, is going to join us as well to talk about the Warriors season. And we're going to get to your texts, your phone calls, all that and a whole lot more throughout this Saturday morning on Saturday League Kickoff. But first, let's get to our Saturday Spotlight.
The Spotlight.
What do you got, AP?
Well, you talked about all of those matchups that are going to be happening tomorrow. For me, it's what happens up front. That sets it up for finals games and Moses Leota versus Payne Haas. So Payne Haas is considered the best prop in the game, but I just look at Moses Leota at this time of year. He's been in 17 finals games. He's been in actually 17 wins out of 20, which is just ridiculous. And he just lifts it this time of year. And you can look at all the different stats that say how good a player is. But what those statisticians can't measure is just how hard he hits blokes, whether it be when he's running up or in defence. Amazing.
I'm sure GPS these days and the technology in the game can measure the levels of intensity and the amount of workload you go through. And they do. We know that now in the modern game. But there's a good story in the Sydney Morning Herald this morning about Moses Leota. Will he be regarded as one of the great modern-day front rowers by the time he retires? Because when the finals come round, and he's done this time and time again in grand finals, the Parramatta game, the Broncos game, last year as well, he just front-loaded everything. And in some cases, probably surpassed James Fisher-Harris in some of those grand finals as well.
And now that James Fisher-Harris isn't there, he's stepped up and he's been the spiritual leader of that pack, and they've all gotten on board.
Yep. So my Saturday spotlight is tomorrow's game as well, which is the Prince of Patience versus the Rebel Rockstar. And what I mean, of course, is Nathan Cleary up against Reece Walsh. Now, they are polar opposites, aren't they? It's oil and water. It's
Yin and yang.
Yin and yang. It's night and day, because you got one, which is Nathan Cleary, who doesn't really crave the limelight.
Yeah.
Because he just gets through being brilliant in his own way. It's all about being, this mindfulness, and he stays in the moment. Whereas you've got Reece, that's what makes him perform.
It's interesting talking to his manager about all these commercial opportunities that come Nathan Cleary's way, because he is the best player in the game, and he just hasn't got the time or the headspace to do it. Like, he's just such a footy head. And then Reece Walsh, he's just on another planet, isn't he? Like, he's basically got more Instagram followers than every single NRL club except for the Brisbane Broncos.
He's Kardashian-like.
He's bigger than the game.
I love both of them, and what I do love about the both of them is the polar opposites. Is you talk about Nathan he's just addicted to the game, obsessed.
Yep.
When you talk to Michael Maguire about Reece Walsh, he's the same.
Exactly the same. What you wouldn't think that it looks like he's doing everything off the cuff, like off the top of his head, but he's actually a real footy nerd. He does a lot of video, massive extras, sort of guy that Michael Maguire loves to
Got
coach.
Beautiful eyelashes too. Have you noticed?
I have. Nice eyes. Hazel.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, so get involved in the show, like we said, 0457 736 736. 011 has asked me a question here that I actually can't ask live on air, but I'm happy to text you later on for any sort of those tips. But and also, if you want to give us a call, 1300 01 1170 is our open line. Let's kick off with our Friday night review.
The Friday Night Review. Don't miss a play. Groceries, drinks and more delivered in minutes with Milk Run. Download the app.
Yeah, thank you very much to our new sponsors, Milk Run, for our Friday night review. 22 points to 14. The Sharkies defeated by the Storm. Last second try to Kale Iro to make it 22 points to 14. No kick at the end, which is not needed.
What about Craig Bellamy blowing up? They've just booked themselves a grand final, and he's still filthy that there was a defensive lapse right at the end.
Yeah, exactly. You could tell they were on. The Melbourne Storm are one of those sides you can tell in the first 5 minutes if they're on.
Yeah.
Because they've been really disjointed this year. They've been ill-disciplined, and I think they'd still be a little bit disappointed with their ill-discipline last night as well.
Yep.
But, drop balls, and they'll give away a penalty and allow their opposition to get back into the game. And but you could tell in the first 5 minutes.
High completion.
They were on, weren't they?
What about Stefano? His first, they just couldn't handle him.
With Cronulla, but I mean, they defended their asses off last night. They defended their try line. They turned Melbourne away time and time again. And usually when you defend for long periods of time, you get a lot of confidence out of in your attack as well. So take nothing away from the Sharkies. They were pretty courageous last night.
Well, it took a good side to beat them.
Yeah.
And the difference was the spine players.
Yeah.
Like, the big guys step up in big games, and that's certainly what happened. Jerome Hughes coming back from injury, like early doors too. Like the fact that he had a run-first mentality, that try that he set up with the palm as well, like he gave it a good test. And, Cameron Munster, he just loves moments like this. Harry Grant right at the end saw one opportunity, took advantage, and then Pappenhausen. What about that interplay with Munster and Pappenhausen where they saw Will Kennedy up in the line?
Munster was
targeted.
Munster was pointing out to his left as if the ball was going to go to the left.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then obviously hooked it back off his left
Love
foot.
it when a plan comes together.
Yeah. So you are right. When you look at the stats, they were pretty compatible across the board in most of those major areas and what dictates the outcome. But you are right. It was the elite players that Melbourne had in the end that were the difference. And you look at Munster. Munster's running a lot more than we've ever seen him. Yeah. So last night he had 16 runs for nearly about 160 metres, 3 tackle busts, 1 try assist as well. He got caught out defensively with one of the Sione Katoa tries in that first half as well. But one thing also that was really important that I noticed, and I'm not sure whether a lot of others noticed as well, is that the focus was always going to be on Jerome Hughes. Yeah. And how that arm was going to hold up. He had that nice thin guard on. It wasn't
Mal Meninga style.
Yeah. Or Shane Webke like. But what Eli Katoa did really well is he defended his inside. So anyone that was going to try and get at Jerome Hughes,
Had to get
it was
through
Eli
him first.
Katoa's job, Tony Carroll, Darren Lockyer.
The bodyguard.
Yeah, exactly. So well done, Eli Katoa, because you played a major role in your halfback not having to do a lot of defence last night as well, and they get another day, or another 2 days really, don't they? Recovery going through to next Sunday.
You talked about Cameron Munster and that run-first mentality. I thought we saw it a lot in Origin. In big games, he just says, just get on my back. There were times when he was carting it up like a front rower, and you could see everyone lift as a result. Exactly.
You mentioned Harry Grant. He was relentless from dummy half. Like, just continued just to chip away, and he was so good. The captain's challenge, big moments. There's always big moments in key matches. And I thought the big moments were the captain's challenge. Jack Howarth, they thought he'd knocked the ball on, and when he got possession, Jack Howarth, you could see he was so animated, wasn't he? He got up off the ground and he pleaded with his captain to captain's challenge it. They won the captain's challenge, got possession. And then the big play was the Pappy and Munster tackle on Nickera.
I can't believe that Pappenhausen was penalised for that. Like, honestly,
for a high tackle.
Like, for a high tackle. Like, it was, but again, just lifted the team, massive play, and just kept their noses in front.
Exactly. It was 16-8 at that stage in favour of Melbourne.
Like, the Sharks didn't go away. Like, to their credit, like, they absorbed so much pressure, particularly on their try line, but they just kept coming.
Now, Stefano Utoikamanu, you mentioned him earlier on. He has gone to another level this year. And, a lot of people could say it's the coaching of Melbourne, and it probably is, but a lot of it comes with maturity as well. He's matured a lot sooner than what a lot of other front rowers do. But his numbers last night were amazing. 15 runs. I think he had about 140 run metres as well. 4 tackle busts. But the thing that I think separated Melbourne from the Cronulla Sharks outside of the elite players was the offloads. And you talk Manu in that opening sort of 15, 20 minutes was getting a lot of offloads, a lot of second phase play. And on the back of that, those elite players play off the back of it. And it's probably the difference. The Sharkies don't have enough of that second phase play where they can create a lot of momentum off the back of it. They're sort of waiting for a quick play of the ball. And if Blake Brayley can get out, they'll jump on the back of that. And if it doesn't happen, the offloads are crucial, and Melbourne got plenty of those. Now,
Stefano, that key one that found Jerome Hughes. And I think he's been a different player since Origin. And Craig Bellamy talked about it last night. He said it was going to take a while for him to get into our system, get used to training and preparing the way we do for games. But now that he's had that under his belt, he's come good at the back end of the year.
Playing really aggressive, isn't he? We hate talking about it, but 18 penalties.
That's a lot of
Ashley
penalties.
Klein. Yeah.
So since 2020, the average for preliminary finals, or the variance has been between 5 and 13. And when it comes to the last couple of grand finals, it's been 5 and then 7 penalties. So that's a lot of penalties. And we just want to see the teams play, don't we? We want to see it go back and forth. It takes fatigue out of the game as well, which is what you want to see at this time of year. So Craig Fitzgibbon was fairly measured in what he said, but he made a good point. Like, they weren't able to play.
Well, we're going to hear from Craig Bellamy as well, but let's firstly hear from Craig Fitzgibbon in relation to the penalties post game.
So if that's a semi-final, like if that's a prelim and you want a grand final to have 18 penalties, like I'm not talking about the ref. The better side won today. Melbourne were the better side today, hands down. But mate, I think the first half was 22 minutes of ball in play. Like, what are we doing for a prelim? Like, don't you want to? What do the fans want? You want to see ball in play? Go, let's go. We go, you go, and then we'll find out. But the better side won today, so I can't complain about. And the calls were, some of those warranted on us, but it's a lot for this time of year for our game.
Yeah, when you break down that 22 minutes of in ball, in a 40-plus minutes because of stoppages and
So only earlier this year, the NRL gave the stats of how much ball in play there was per game, and it was 56 minutes per match. So that had been up a minute on the previous year, and then to see it drop down in one of our marquee games is a bit of a disappointment.
Yeah, it is. It is. A lot of it's around the play of the ball, unfortunately. But let's listen from the winning coach, Craig Bellamy, after the match.
The thing I was happiest with most was our form today. I thought we were a lot more consistent than we have been probably the last month or 5 weeks. And, that's probably the reason we won the game too, to be quite honest. I thought, the Sharks have had a really good end to the season, and, I thought they defended their try line today, really well. So, we got a little bit frustrated there a couple of times, I think, just thinking about, what we're doing tomorrow and who we're playing type thing. We don't find that out until Sunday, So like I say, it's really good, but I think he'll probably sink in a little bit more tomorrow for me.
Well, yeah, he was disappointed that last try, but we do know that he's very connected with his players. Did you see the footage of Craig Bellamy with his grandkids? Jaleesa Apps did something on one of the news, one of her news crosses, and how he just that whole tough exterior just evaporates when his grandkids are around.
I don't think the Storm players have seen much of that.
Yeah.
Though.
Apparently he's used, when he's about to blow up, they ask Aaron Bellamy, his son, to bring the grandkids in before he blows up because it shuts that all down. Hey, Richard from Melbourne on the text line says, Sats and Adrian, I was at the game at Amy Park last night. It was amazing atmosphere. Privileged to be there and watch two great teams giving all their all to try and make a grand final. In the end, the class of Munster, Paps, Harry and all, and the talk around Jerome with a broken arm, inspirational, especially scoring a try. And let's talk about that Jerome Hughes, that run really early. We knew that when he had a run early on just to test himself and get into the game, he nearly poked his head through. Then he scored that try as well. So Craig Bellamy was asked about Jerome Hughes after the match.
As you say, they were always going to test him out, and he knew that. I think he swapped positions over a couple of times, to make it a little bit harder to get at him. But at the end of the day, like I say, his running game, he wasn't hesitant with his running game at all. He wasn't hesitant with his kicking. So, he just proves that what he said was dead set right. He was ready to play, and I thought, with all due respect, he was one of our better players.
Yeah, so he was one of the better players. He just did what he does well, which is very simplistic, his game, but he does it very well, Jerome Hughes.
Kind of feels like Melbourne have built into their season more gradually than is usually the case. Like sometimes they come out of the blocks and they're up for so long, you almost get to the finals and feel there's almost a bit of fatigue. But it's been a perfect, almost Melbourne Cup style preparation. Yeah,
exactly. Can you tell me why Jerome Hughes didn't go to the head bin? Because he didn't show signs 4-5-7 after the head clash and the penalty with Braden Trindle. He didn't show signs immediately of being concussed, hence why he jumped off the ground, and he seemed to be okay as well. Love your text. Hey, boys, Ashley Klein can't officiate the grand final. Penalty-a-thon, surely he won't get the grand final. McDuff says, well, he may. He's down to the final two, isn't he?
He is.
Yeah, absolutely. Who's yelling? Grant Atkins.
That's probably the biggest.
Tomorrow.
His biggest threat to that.
Cam says Munster beating two men off the ground, which led to victory, sealing try, sums the bloke up, especially after 4 or 5 sets of one out leading up to it. Cam, yeah, well assessed. Yeah, he was absolutely outstanding. So don't miss a play. Groceries, drinks and more delivered in minutes with Milk Run. All you got to do is download the app. You can have your say 1300 01 1170. Send your text in 0457 736 736. And up next, we're going to catch up with James Tedesco and look at all the big news from the week as well. Welcome back to Saturday League Kickoff. Scott Sattler, Adrian Proszenko here for you at the start of the weekend. And thanks to Kogan and switch to Kogan Mobile. Low price phone plan, Kogan.com. Click and awesome as well. Have your say, 1300 01 1170 is the open line number, or you can give us a call, or text I should say, on 0457 736 736. Well, we teased it earlier on, and he's one of the superstars of the game. Dally M's next week as well. He's the favourite to win that. We're going to cross out to James Tedesco. Thanks to Tempur and 40 Winks, and he's live from Alexandria. How are you, Teddy?
Boys, thanks for having me.
No, thank you very much. Before we get into why you're there today, we talk about sleep and how important sleep is for Tempur and 40 Weeks. Did you get much sleep after Mad Monday?
No, not much at all, really. I've got a 5-week-old at home as well and a 2-year-old daughter, so that didn't help my sleep. But it was obviously a couple of beers after the game and a couple of beers a couple of days later. But yeah, I was home really. I can't do the late nights these days too well.
I know. Hey, now tell us what's going on down at Alexandria 40 Winks today, where you are at the moment. What's the buzz?
Yeah, just down here at 40 Winks. A couple of fans come down saying hello, but yeah, just in store at Alexandria. Just got voted the best store in New South Wales. So come on down if you're looking for anything sleep-wise, pillows, beds. They can look after you.
Did you talk about sleep? And obviously, as a young father, you're not getting as much as you used to, but do the Roosters and NRL clubs, do they do a lot of work around sleep patterns, all the different flotation devices, float tanks, different things that you can do to rest and recover?
Yeah, it's so important these days. We have to actually fill in every time we come into training, how much sleep we got the night before. I mean, I use the Whoop, a couple of boys in the team use the Whoop as well, which tracks how much sleep you get, how much deep sleep, how long you're awake during your time in bed. So, features like this are becoming more and more important to coaches, and we've even talked about having the whole team on the Whoop so we can track each other's sleep and track your performance and how that affects you. So, I mean, these days it's just so important. And for me, I've been on top of it for the last couple of years, and I'm in bed earlier and earlier these days. I was struggling last night to stay up to watch the full game last night, but it was a cracking game, wasn't it?
Teddy, have you had a chance to reflect on the season? It's a great season for yourself personally, and Sats mentioned you're one of the favourites for the Dally M. What about from a team perspective as well? Great run to the finals, but obviously disappointed you weren't able to take it further.
Yeah, I feel like we put ourselves in a position to win that game against Cronulla. Cronulla have been playing great all year. They played great last night, great against Canberra. But for us as a team, it was disappointing how it ended. But I think it's a real positive the way we went about that year. I know not many people gave us much hope at the start of the year. A lot of young guys. I think we had 8 debutants who played a big part of our season. These guys are going to be better for it next year. So I'm really excited about the future of the team, especially these young guys. But overall, I'm proud of how we went this season. I feel like we could have went much further, but again, that's finals footy in the end.
Yeah, well said. There's so many great debutants this year, Teddy. Now, how do you it's hard to differentiate your seasons because you are the epitome of consistency. But how do you self-assess your season in 2025?
Yeah, I know a lot of people talking about my best season. I wasn't too sure about that. I actually spoke to Robbo in our reviews after the season, and I was like, well, I just feel like I'm doing what I usually do. Not much really changes, but for Robbo, it was just, he said I was doing it at a high level consistently every week. So that's something I pride myself on. I mean, my routine, my preparation for games doesn't differ at all, really. But I think taking on that bigger leadership role with these younger guys coming through, we obviously lost a lot of leadership and experience last year, and I sort of took it upon myself to really lead this team through my actions and my words as well. But I really just enjoyed this. It was probably my funnest year I've had since winning those grand finals, of just coming in every day with the energy that these young guys brought and try and lead them as best as possible.
You talk about the season you've had, and there's a chance potentially to win a third Dally M medal. And to put that into perspective, Andrew Johns won 3. Like the most is Jonathan Thurston with 5. So it's
second.
Well, you're on your way. There's more to come, but. Well, given how well you're playing, are you thinking about a Kangaroos tour, being back in the number 1 jersey for Australia?
Yeah, I'm not too sure, to be honest. I haven't heard much from Kevy or any of the Australian Kangaroos staff, but I'm staying fit and staying healthy and just see what happens. I mean, I didn't really think about it too much at the start of the year. Wasn't really putting that pressure on myself to sort of play rep footy, but I guess the year I had in the footy I was playing sort of put me in a position where I'm a chance, and we'll see what happens. I mean, Dylan and Walsh will be playing tonight, and we'll see how they go. So I guess those two, if they win grand finals, they'll put themselves in position to have that spot as well. So, I mean, for myself, whatever happens, I'm really proud of my season individually, and I'll look to keep working on that for next year.
Teddy, you mentioned 2 of those players in Walsh and Edwards who will play out tomorrow in that match. And out of the 3 sides remaining now, Melbourne, of course, winning last night, which team, from your experience, has a lot left in them?
Yeah, I mean, Melbourne having that week off, having their key players back, I think they'll be hard to beat. I mean, it's tough. Any team on their day can win. I mean, the game tonight will be outstanding. I'm not sure who to take there, but Melbourne last night, their spine players, they're all back healthy and fit now. The combinations looked very strong. I think they'll be hard to beat. I think they've got a lot of redemption after last year. But again, it'll be a cracking game tonight. We'll see who takes it out on top.
Teddy, another Rooster who's had a massive season is Nawaqanitawase. Absolutely incredible, and he's probably a chance of being on that Kangaroos tour as well. There's news that potentially he's leaving after next season. What's been the reaction in Roosters land?
Oh yeah, I mean, we always knew it was up to Mark's decision if he was going to hang around, or I think we always knew he wanted to go back to rugby and play in that World Cup at home. So there's no real ill feelings there. Mark, we love him. He's been so good for us this year, not just only on the field but off the field. He's really got around the connection and the culture of the club and brought a lot of people together. He's just so good to be around, and he's really created a lot of highlights, for us and for the game. And It'll be a shame if we do lose him next year, but we follow him with whatever he wants to do. So I think it'll make more people interested in the Rugby World Cup if he's there playing.
So already you've done a couple of children's books. I hear you're working on a biography as well, and I guess it's hard to actually reflect when you're in the middle of a career, but have you enjoyed the process, and are there any big reveals that we can expect?
No, I was actually working on it at the start of the year, and then it was becoming a bit too distracting for me trying to reflect on my career, so I sort of put that on hold for the pre-season, for the off-season now. So it's interesting looking back and trying to reflect on years that I've had in the career I've had, and again, I still know that there's plenty left in me, and still a long way to go. So we'll keep ticking along, keep sort of reflecting on the career I've had so far, but I'm also still very excited for what's left to come.
Do you get to pick the name of the book? Like as your biography, do you get to pick the name? And have you thought about what the name's going to be?
I do get to pick the name. I haven't really gave it too much thought, to be honest. You got any ideas, Sats?
Well, what question? The big caboose.
Teddy swims.
The big caboose, because players tell me, I try and tackle Teddy. He's got that much power through his arse.
Teddy, can we ask?
I don't even squat heavy. I don't know. My legs aren't even that strong. I think it's just the Italian heritage.
Teddy, can we just ask you about Victor Radley? He's just been such an integral part of the club, and no doubt a bit of a relief that he's able to continue his career at the Roosters.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's disappointing for him. He's had to rule himself out of England and the Ashes tour. I know he loves playing for England and representing his dad's culture. So I love Rads. Obviously, we're really close, and he's had a tough couple of weeks for him, and he's had to wear it on the chin and cop the punishments. But I think that's all behind him now. We can sort of move on, enjoy himself, and be ready to go once pre-season starts.
Yeah, well said, well said. Hey, thank you very much, Teddy, for joining us. And make sure you get down to Alexandria if you're in the area, the 40 Winks Tempur store down there to catch up with Teddy. Hey, enjoy the off-season. But most importantly, that's probably not going to finish for a while now. You've got Dally-M's next week and then potential Ashes tour as well. So thank you very much, mate, and enjoy the rest of the weekend.
Thanks, boys. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks to James Tedesco. Thanks to 40 Winks and Tempur as well. A great night's sleep with Tempur. The difference is Tempur. Have your say. 1300 01 1170 is the number, or send us a text 0457 736 736. AP, mate, what a head of hair. My wife wants to know if you're single. Anyway, love the show. Yeah, single. Couple of kids. And happily as well.
Happily.
Sorry about that 01.
That might be my wife, actually. Is that
exactly. This is Saturday League Kickoff. Up next, we'll look at the Tempur Sleep player who would have slept well from the Sharks and the Melbourne Storm match. Yeah, welcome back to Saturday League Kickoff. Great to catch up with James Tedesco.
Yeah.
It's always good to catch up with the players post-season, and I know that Reece Walsh and Dylan Edwards have the last laugh in front of selectors, and because the Roosters are out and then one team gets the opportunity to keep impressing, but based on the potential Dally-M, I think it'll be enough to get Teddy on the tour.
I think the fact that there's so many young, promising Roosters players, and he's been really taken upon himself to mentor them, I actually think it's probably his best season. Like I
was saying, it's hard to differentiate the seasons because he's just been so good every year.
Well, when
he doesn't miss a lot of games.
When he had a supposed dip, it's because we're comparing him to his own high standards.
Yeah.
So anything other than a 9 or 10 out of 10 every game, and he's out of form.
Yeah, exactly. And don't forget, if you're watching via Fox League and simulcast live on Fox League, and also the SEN listeners as well, it's all thanks to our good friends at DAF CF 530 Mega Run Out, which is now on. So we love all your text messages. Hughes was amazing. Unbelievable. 20-odd days with that cracked arm. What a freak. Also, how handsome is AP? The Warren Gamble Wombat says.
You're setting me up.
Are these all your wife? These are all your wife.
Are they coming from the same number?
No, they're not. They're all different numbers. And based on that game last night, Stormy Daniel, who loves his West Magpies and also his Melbourne Storm, says yet another grand final for the man responsible for building this remarkable club. 11th grand final in 23 seasons, an average grand final every 2 seasons. That's freakish.
Ridiculous.
That's insane. Storm's 12th grand final appearance in their 28 seasons of existence. Sustained success is Bellamy's legacy in the game. The Melbourne mentor deserves another premiership. I'll tell you what he deserves. He deserves a statue alongside Cam and Billy.
I think he's also evolved too. Like, he's not the Captain Cranky that he was early in his career. In fact, I did a story during the week about when they flogged West Tigers 64-0, and then they're having a video review session.
Yep.
And he sort of thought, well, I mean, what are we going to take out of that? Well, what can we learn out of something like that? So he actually invited a stand-up comedian to come in and do the video review. So it's Chris Wainwright, a guy who's on the local scene in Melbourne. So he's come in and did this and done his observational humour or whatever else. They play the next game against Cronulla and they get beat. There's no observational humour after that. There's no back to Captain Cranky.
Exactly. Okay, let's go back to last night's game and who slept well.
Sleep well. A great night's sleep, night after night after night. That is the difference. The difference is Tempur.
It's a little bit strange for us, isn't it? The people listening on radio hear what they call a stinger, what you just hear then. But for us that are watching on Fox League, we sort of sit here and we don't know what to do with our hands. Yeah, so
You look like Thunderbirds.
Yeah. Hey, thank you very much to Tempur, great friends, and also with 40 Winks and the Tempur store there at Alexandria where Teddy is. And if you're just joining us on Fox League or SEN, we did catch up with James Tedesco. He is live currently down at Alexandria store at 40 Winks. So go down there if you're in the area, if you've got the kids, and go down and get a photo. He's a great young guy. Is he easy to deal with as a player?
One of the best.
He seems very introverted, quiet.
He is.
Yeah.
It's funny. I went and visited him once on the Camden farm. They've got like property that the family owns, and he's just such a city slicker. Like, his dad will get on the tractor and all that stuff, and there'd be cows everywhere. And we got a photo of him next to a cow, and you could just see it's like so out of whack with how he normally goes about business.
Great stuff. What a great player. Now, from the Storm v Sharks match for Tempur, who would have slept well last night? There's plenty. There's plenty, isn't there?
Stefano.
I think even though there was Munster was great and Pappy was great and Hughes was great and also Harry from dummy half, Stefano set it up, didn't he?
Oh, just the first contact. Like,
Yeah.
it just sets the tone. Like when he pokes his nose through, or you talked about those little offloads. He
Yeah.
got a couple of those away as well. They couldn't handle him.
Yeah, no, he was amazing. So it's fair to say Tempur sleep well player from that match last night was Stefano Utoikamanu. Now, you look at his stats, always at 15 runs for 150 metres. You sort of say an average of 10 metres. That's great math stats. He's had a good game, but when you compare him to your Payne Haas's who are running 200 and 230 metres, you think, oh, that's a front row that hasn't had as much of an influence. But he did. In those early stages, he really rattled a few. He scattered them like pins, 10 pins at some stages. And then the offloads is what was the difference between him and a lot of other front rowers.
It depends on the role, right? So Payne Haas, we know, can get a lot of minutes out. Terrell May's another one who plays massive, like 60, 70, up to 80 minutes if need be. But his job is to just make a dent in them and then let the guys come off the bench and then continue on.
Yeah, exactly. Gibbo has also texted in and said he's a great chat with Teddy. He's going to get a rude shock tonight when he tries to watch that game. He kept saying the game tonight between Brisbane.
When you're out of it, it doesn't matter.
Exactly. It's amazing when you're out of it how many players don't watch what's going on because they're a little bit filthy that they're still not there. So it sort of makes sense. So, Teddy, if you're still listening, the game's on tomorrow at Suncorp. Okay. Seashells by the seashore. There you go. I said it, Matty. I know I keep getting tangled up with differentiate the word.
Which Matty was that? Former Titans winger?
Yeah.
5'8"?
No, Matty Rogers? No, it was not Rat. Yeah, exactly. Let's get into some of the big news throughout the week. I suppose one of the big stories was Mark Nawaqanitawase and the Rugby World Cup dreams. And as we just heard from James Tedesco, it was no surprise to the players.
Yeah.
And knowing how close-knit that group is, and they keep everything in-house really well, the Roosters, I've got no doubt that Mark would have spoken to the players before anything was made public. I would be very surprised if the players would have read it in the news. But as James Tedesco has said, it doesn't surprise us. I mean, to play a home World Cup makes sense if you're coming from that game.
Yeah.
Does it affect his possible selection for the upcoming Ashes? I think it absolutely does. I think for Origin next year, maybe it does, even though Suoliti was signed.
Well, that's a good example.
Yeah.
Michael Maguire still picked
Yep.
Joey Suoliti. Kevin Walters has come out and said that it doesn't affect it. I'll still and when we had him on the show last week, we asked him, "Are you looking forward towards building towards the World Cup?" He said, "No, we've got to win now. We're going to pick the best team to get the job done." And Mark Nawaqanitawase is probably part of that, isn't he? And he's gotten better as the season's progressed. Yep. The one thing that he did do was when he sat down and he told Nick Politis and Trent Robinson and all the officials, he said that if I do come back to rugby league, the only team that I'll ever play for is for the Sydney Roosters.
And Nick Politis then says, see maybe the 500 you're on now? We're going to give you 250. He's just lost all leverage when it comes to his negotiations.
But he's really enjoyed his stint at the Roosters.
Well, you can tell. You can actually tell. Like again, that club they're a great club.
Yeah,
they're a great players' club. They're very well connected.
Isn't it interesting too that there's so much transition between the codes, and it sort of Bondi Junction is sort of the centre of the universe.
Yep.
Like whether it be Sonny Bill Williams or the two Joeys or Mark Nawaqanitawase, all these guys, they all sort of congregate around the Roosters.
Okay, so we look at the three probably main wingers that will be in contention, which will be Xavier Coates. He's locked in.
Yep.
You got Zach Lomax.
Yep.
And you've got Mark Nawaqanitawase. Now he scored 25 tries for the year.
Yep.
Completely different body of work of what Zach Lomax gives you.
Yep.
Zach Lomax will come in and he'll bob up in all parts of the field. His kick chase, not his bomb diffusion or his attacking bombs to try and score tries, but his pressure on the opposition's back three when they're trying to take possession is probably one of the best in the comp.
Yep.
Completely different body of work. So does that mean if Mark Nawaqanitawase gets picked, that a Zach Lomax misses out?
Potentially. I guess the other guy that's worth mentioning.
Because I look at the workload of Zach Lomax
yeah,
and the body of work that he gets through and can still finish tries.
Yeah.
I'm still picking Lomax.
Yeah. And Jacob Kiraz has had a terrific year as well. He's probably worth the mention. He's had a huge year and gets through a ton of work. Probably not as many highlight reel moments as the other three guys that we mentioned.
Yep.
But they're good problems for Kevy Walters to have, aren't they?
Yeah, you're right. 1300 01 1170 is our open line. We love hearing from you. Now, Stormy Daniel is one of our smartest listeners. We put him in what we call the Goodwill Hunting Group, the SMART Group. And he is on the line to talk about Stefano. How are you, Stormy Daniel?
Good, Sats and AP. How are you guys?
Going very well, mate. Going very well. So we know how much you love your Melbourne Storm, but Stefano last night, were you equally impressed?
Absolutely. Yeah, 12 months ago, Sats, to the day, I rang up in a bit of a mess in regards to Nelson Asafa-Solomona being placed on report and stressing about his potential loss of a grand final, which we know ended up being the case, being rubbed out. 12 months on, the Storm go out and recruit astutely in regards to bringing Stefano Utoikamanu into the Melbourne Storm. Now, I think a lot of Storm fans and members like myself, as soon as Nelson Asafa-Solomona got suspended after the high contact on Ben Tolte in round 27, were starting to fear the worst, and history may be repeating itself. But cometh the hour, cometh the man. Stefano Utoikamanu, that's exactly why he was brought to the club. He stood up. He's passed probably, I'd say, 2 months of football, specifically probably coming back after Origin 3. He's really found his football. He's really found his game. And last night, he was absolutely immense. The Storm don't win if he doesn't play last night.
Yeah.
That's how important he was.
I think you're right.
He just allowed the ruck to open up, Harry Grant to do his thing, and that really brought in their creatives, their 1, 6, 7 and 9 to just run that football because they had the time, space and room to do so. But
Stormy
it was
Daniel,
an outstanding display.
Do you think Melbourne went and recruited him, one, because he's a good player, two, because there's that threat that Nelson was going to miss big games and they still needed that big potential elite front rower?
No doubt, Sats. And I think, in an ideal world, they would have loved to have both of them there last night, that 1-2 punch, similar to what the Panthers have had previously with Fisher, Harris and Leota. I think that was the ideal scenario, but again, these things happen. Nelson won't be there, but thank goodness Stefano Utoikamanu is there for the men in purple.
That must feel like
Great stuff. Thank you, Stormy Daniel.
one that got away for West Tigers. He was under contract and they had a clause in there that allowed him to get out if he played a certain amount of Origin games. Although having said that, they have replaced him well with Terrell May.
But, it's the lure of the Melbourne Storm. It's the lure of, you're going to play finals.
Yeah.
It's, most probably it's going to be top 4.
Yep.
But at worst, you're going to be playing finals at some stage. And for a young player to be able to experience that really early, that's the lure of the club, the success of the club.
No one ever goes over there and becomes a worse player, do they?
No, exactly right. Exactly right. So thank you very much, Stormy Daniel. G'day, boys. Love the show. My idea for Teddy's book would be one more effort. I don't mind it. Obviously, it incorporates his position, number one, but it sums up exactly how he plays effort on effort. That's Steve resting in bed. Hope it's a Tempur bed from 40 Winks. With Sue on Russell Island. Thank you very much, Steve and Sue. Really appreciate that. We're going to get that through to Teddy as well. One more effort. I don't mind that as well. Hey, Victor Radley has spoken out after his fine. Well, no, actually, we can't say fine. We've got to say playing without pay. And
After accepting a 10-game suspension.
10-game suspension as well. So what's come of that, AP?
Well, the interesting thing
Can
is...
I just say, really
Yes.
quickly, Stormy Daniel sounded like you.
Those dulcet tones of his,
Yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, initially when that first was handed down,
Yep.
and I spoke to England coach Sean Wayne about it, he was under the impression that he would have Victor Radley at his disposal
Yep.
for the Ashes tour. And unfortunately, that's not the case. So Victor Radley's decided that he won't participate in that. He's going to cop all of that suspension within the NRL season. But he's come out and he's apologised. We've had the mea culpa.
So the games that he's, because he actually was he physically picked in England yet? He can't use any of those games.
No, he couldn't use
as
it because it's a
suspension.
Rooster
Gotcha.
suspension.
Yeah,
Yep,
gotcha.
Yep. But Sean Wayne was going to pick him.
Yeah.
And now he said, no, I'm not gonna be part of that tour, and so he'll basically just focus on his pre-season.
Yeah.
Which is a bit surprising because it's going to be a long season, given
Yeah.
that he's not playing for 10 games. But he's made a donation to charity. He's owned it. He's talked about the embarrassment that it's caused himself and the club, and
Cancelled his wedding plans.
well, there you go.
Yeah.
So he's paid a price. It's not going to appease everyone because Nick Politis made a statement that some people said, well, you haven't torn up his contract. So, but he couldn't
but
do much more though,
The
could he?
statement, as we said last week, the statement from Nick Politis, it was smart. It was a smart statement because if you are found in possession,
Yeah.
like he said, or a photo or whatever it may be,
Yeah.
we'll terminate you. And I've got no doubt he would. But it wasn't the case with Victor. And with Victor, it doesn't surprise me that he didn't go and hide into the shadows. He just got on the front foot and said, this is what it is. This is how disappointed I am. I've let my family down, my club, the game, whatever it may be. The club moved on with it with the sanctions as well. It's the perfect way to handle it. Just come through the front door straight away. And then sporting fans feel a lot more empathy towards the situation
Yeah.
if you do come through the front door and just own up to it.
Yeah.
So well done, Roosters. Well done, Victor Radley. Now, allegiances. We've got a text here about Stefano Utoikamanu. Do we know where he's aligned when it comes to Pacific Championships?
Well, it's funny because we haven't really spoken a lot about him because until probably the last 2 or 3 weeks, he wasn't in the reckoning.
Yeah.
But you talk about players who push their claims through a big final series, and he's one of them.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to be disrespectful, but I don't know whether he's Samoan or Tongan, but I'm going to check that during the break because I want to make sure it's give credit where credit's due as well. Tina Fasua Malawi. Now, people keep using the word he rejects Samoa. He hasn't rejected Samoa. He's just said, I want to go on an Ashes tour. I've got unfinished business because of the game against New Zealand where we got lapped. I want to be able to try and rewrite that. And then it leaves himself actually open to the World Cup next year of playing for Samoa potentially. Yeah.
Yep.
So,
Yeah. 100%. The door's open for him. In terms of Samoa, that is who Stefano can represent if he so chooses.
He's
to
already
do.
played a game,
He's
hasn't
played
he?
a game
Yeah.
for them already.
Yeah.
But that's the beauty of the system. The eligibility laws as they stand right now, they can switch at various times in their career, and this is an Ashes tour. It hasn't happened in 22 years, so I can understand why Tino decides I want to be part of this because who knows when this will happen next.
I I don't begrudge him. I say go for your life. If you've got the opportunity to do it, very envious of a person who gets to go to England and experience it. If he plays for Samoa next year in the World Cup, I don't think he comes back. I think he stays.
Well, there's the opportunity for him to play for Australia in the World Cup. And he's got a long career. He's got a long contract.
Yeah.
He could always represent Samoa at some other point in the future.
Exactly, as well. Tony Staggs, isn't it interesting how international rugby league has become like a recruitment process?
Yeah.
Once upon a time it was, whatever heritage you are, you just go and play for them. But now it's sort of like, Christian Wolf has spoken to Tony Staggs. He wants to become a play for Tonga, which he has already.
Yeah.
And then you've got Kevy saying, we've got an Ashes tour. We want you to play for Australia for certain players. But it's become a real recruitment process now between the nations.
Well, that's probably why Mal can't do the job anymore. That whole idea of not having anyone aligned with a club as the coach of the Kangaroos.
Yeah, exactly. Exciting times. I mean, mate, to go on an England tour would be just next level. Mal Meninga talks about it quite regularly. Of course, he went on 4 Kangaroo tours and then all the Ashes tours and whatever it may be, and then played for St Helens over there. He's an absolute god in England at St Helens. And he spoke about it with Jimmy Smith on the throwdown, where he said, if you've got the chance to experience it, you've got to experience it.
Well, even having Kevy on last week, I was really interested in the chat about it's the end of a long season. The players are a little bit fatigued and how to keep them fresh. And I thought it was terrific the way he spoke about, the things they do off the field, the type of personalities that they have as part of the coaching staff that bring a bit of fun and levity. So they know when to knuckle down and they know when to have a good time as well.
Exactly. Have your say, 1300 01 1170, like Stormy Daniel did. I can't make any sense of this. You blokes, can you please help me out? The conversation of Radley talking with an alleged drug dealer about buying drugs is used to incriminate Brandon Smith. But according to the media and the Roosters, Radley is innocent of buying enough for half a dozen blokes who haven't been implicated, and it's Donald Trump common sense areas.
Well, he hasn't been charged by police.
No,
or
it hasn't.
questioned by them.
No, exactly.
So we just need to make that clear.
And I think what Victor Radley is trying to say is that the conversations are not ideal. We know that, but that's all they are. So based on evidence, that's all they are. They're conversations that aren't ideal for anyone involved, especially Victor Radley and his family.
So the Roosters got him because he brought the game into disrepute, or the club into disrepute.
Exactly. Question for AP: if there's a Kangaroos train-on squad, is there a Kangaroos train-on squad? If not, I'll have Kebby has asked the likes of Ethan Strange and Blake Brayley to postpone Barley and keep training.
Both of those guys would be well and truly in the running, for sure.
Has there been a train-on squad?
No,
I don't think there has been, has there?
There hasn't been any announced.
So basically players who are on the cusp who would have received a phone call from Kevy to say at least keep training.
Don't go to Bali or...
Don't go to Bali.
Or whatever.
Exactly. Hey, we love your texts. Make sure they keep coming through. 0457 736 736. Well, that's the first hour of Saturday League Kickoff. We've got so much more to come. We've got the Perth Bears inaugural recruitment manager, Dane Campbell, to talk about building their roster for year 1 in 2027. And also the CEO of the New Zealand Warriors, Cameron George, is going to join us in the next hour. Welcome back to the second hour of Saturday League Kickoff. Scott Sattler, Adrian Proszenko. It's the first time you're joining us. Welcome to the show on this Saturday morning. And you can get the show on the podcast as well, the SEN podcast, wherever you get your podcast from. Also, you watch it back on KO. We caught up with James Tedesco earlier on for 40 Winks and Tempur as well. He was in rare air this year, wasn't he, with some of the elite players in the game. Of course, Dally M this coming week, and see whether he's crowned with his second Dally M. And this is all thanks to Eufy. Save time and effort with the E15 robot lawnmower as well, being great supporters of Saturday League Kickoff. Plenty more to come. We had the Friday night review between the Storm and the Sharkies. We've got big news of the week around Marky Mark and Victor Radley, Tino, and all those allegiance to different nations. Team in Focus, the Warriors, that's coming up very soon with Cameron George. And also, we're going to get to more of your text, which is all around the Melbourne, the Sharks, Stefano as well. And the levels that he's hitting at the moment as a player. We've got plenty of your opinions around that. But before we get to our Sunday footy preview as well, let's get into this.
It's the Deep Dive. Loopien, one app for all your pool care needs. That's Loopien, Loopyn.
Yes, the Lupium Deep Dive, an exciting times for rugby league in 2027 with the emergence of the Perth Bears. And what is exciting for players is a new club. But what's equally exciting for the staff is to build a new club from the ground up. I was fortunate enough to do that with the Gold Coast Titans. It is one of the most exciting times of your life. And this man, well, he's been given the opportunity as the recruitment manager for the Perth Bears to build that very first playing roster, which is so important to stamp your authority very early on. Dane Campbell joins us on Saturday League Kickoff. How are you, Dane?
Good morning, Sats. Good morning, Adrian. Thanks for having me. Looking forward to having a good chat.
Yeah, no, and I know there's only so much you can say, Dane, because November 1 hasn't come around yet, but of course you would have a short list of players that you would like to try and identify. But firstly, for yourself, how does it feel being appointed the inaugural recruitment manager at a new team?
Yeah, it's exciting. I think for myself personally, I've been in the recruitment space now for about 10 years, and yeah, I guess Sats, you know this really well, that in our professional lifetimes, this opportunity doesn't come across our desk very rarely, if ever. So, yeah, when the opportunity came up to be involved with the Perth Bears, I guess deep down I'm an expansionist at heart and always have been, and you know, this was too good an opportunity to pass up, and really excited about what we can build and the people that we're getting involved from a staff level, and that'll flow on into the playing market over the next coming months.
Dane, congrats on the appointment. The most recent team to be added to the NRL is the Dolphins. Will you look closely at the way they assembled their roster, and are there some learnings there for you from what they've been able to achieve?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, you know, I say this respectfully to the Dolphins, and I think we'll take out some key learnings of what they did well, and possibly some things that they may have missed the mark on early doors, and you know, where we can sort of just dovetail that into ourselves and what will work for us. And then we've also got probably a bit of longer history. You know, probably I lean on the Melbourne Storm. I sort of know that fairly well, and looking back on how they assembled a roster and sort of achieved initial success, and then even the Gold Coast when they first entered the comp, and you know, what Sats did around, you know, building a really good, you know, bunch of guys that had leadership experience, and you know, they could be competitive from the get-go. That's really important for us.
Now, as you said, Dane, you've been in clubland for a number of years, Melbourne Storm, North Queensland Cowboys, but at those clubs, you've got a roster and you've got to manoeuvre people on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, and of course, at the end of each year. But to have a fresh salary cap and be able to start from scratch, I mean, to have a, you know, more or less an open checkbook with the same salary cap to everyone else, it must be exciting to be able to have a clean roster.
Yeah, absolutely. You're right. When you walk into an organisation, there's obviously deals that have been done, and some are long deals, some are high money deals, and you know, you're always looking to where you can value add in amongst it. But you know, I guess in this state, you know, we're in a situation where it's clean and we can just go in. I sort of jokingly sort of saying to a few people, I'll either know whether I'm any good at my job or very poor at my job, and there's nowhere to blame. And you know, I think that's exciting. I'm sort of a personality that enjoys a challenge, and I see this as a really exciting one.
Dane, you mentioned your experience at the Storm. They've been successful over such a long period of time, and their philosophy has been to have maybe 3 or 4 key spine players on a lot of money, and then you sort of build the roster around that. In terms of the way you're putting together this Bears roster, will you have a similar philosophy? Is it about getting a couple of big pieces and then some complementary pieces around them, or do you have more of an even spread of your salary cap?
Yeah, it's a great question, and probably right now that might be fluid. That might be dictated by, you know, who may or may not be available on the market come November 1st. And I think last night showed us again the importance of having a really good spine and the impact that can have on a game, and you know, equally so having a balanced roster. You know, not necessarily, you know, just having top end talent and then, you know, it dies away fairly quickly. And I think, you know, so to answer the question simply is, you know, yes, it'd be ideal to get some key pieces of the jigsaw in the playmaking positions, and then trying to spread in some leadership qualities in amongst that. Some guys of high reputation and ability, but equally so trying to get a deep squad too from day one. I think the other thing that we're going to face that's unique is obviously the distance and the travel, and So we're going to have to probably build out a squad that has quite a fair bit of experience, even in our what we'd call our depth positions as well.
Also, Dane, something that you know that comes across the table, especially with any club, but most importantly a new club that hasn't signed any players, is that agents using the club as leverage for their players publicly to say that the Perth Bears are available to be used as a leverage point for agents. That's also an area that you've got to try and control publicly as well.
Yeah, and we've got to be diligent around those conversations too. Around, some of them might be real, and some of them might be purely paper talk, or But for us, if we took every player that's been linked to us, even thus far, we'd probably be $5 million over the salary cap. So I think it's important to understand for us that there is a salary cap there for a purpose, and we've got to fit within that. And I think the other one is looking at longitudinal success and having or sustained success and what that looks like. And that may look like now a combination of some older, more experienced players blended in, with some highly talented younger players. And I think that's what the Dolphins, probably one key takeaway from them recently is, year one, they probably had some guys that were less experienced and ready to play first grade. But, 2 years down the track, here we are, and we're seeing the emergence of some of that elite talent, showing really good signs for them. So I guess we'll sort of pull everything together and then work out what best works for us.
Dana, there's some non-negotiables when you come to the negotiating table. Like, for instance, we've seen some clubs get themselves into a little bit of trouble by having clauses and options in the favour of players. Are you sort of going to be pragmatic with that, or have you got sort of we don't do that sort of thing when we do business at the Bears?
I think that's probably something that will evolve. I think learning over the last sort of 10 years in this industry, the recruitment space, you see some things that happen and you question as to how they've happened. And then, so I think realistically for us, if we can try and minimise, the ambiguity around it and just make it really clear and concise. And probably the other thing for us in terms of the actual contracts is possibly looking to stagger, so we don't have players coming off contract all at the one time, and so it's sort of building out what that looks like as well.
Hey, what are the feeder team arrangements going to look like, Dane? Because it's very important, the underbelly, the depth of your future proofing your club. So when it comes to your second tier, whether it's Queensland Cup, New South Wales Cup, whatever it may be, and then all your junior rep teams as well, will they be located on the west coast, or more so on the east coast?
Yeah, without probably giving away too much, I'm not too sure whether everything's been made official as yet, but I definitely know that there's a strong importance to make sure that we grow the game in Western Australia and have a really strong and robust pathway system, which Ian Millwood has come on as pathways manager, and he's got a great deal of experience in that space. So, getting that up and running, but also we're probably in a unique and favourable position that we're going to have some links, obviously, through the North Sydney stuff, through the SG Ball and Jersey Flag and Harold Matthews competitions, but then also the potential of having a Queensland base too. So if we have those three all simultaneously working together and feeding up the chain, then that can only be a good thing for us in terms of when we're recruiting, in particular younger players, that they possibly don't have to leave their home locations until they're actually mature enough to handle going away and living in Perth and doing the travel and all that sort of thing.
So Western Australia's got a large South African expat community. There's some rugby links there as well. Is that a potential target player market for yourself?
Yeah, definitely. When on my time at the Storm, we actually went over twice and watched a couple of big rugby union tournaments over there at the time, and it was just prior to COVID. We were very much on the cusp of bringing a few South African players to the Storm at the time, and it's already something that we're starting to look back into, and it makes even more sense now for Perth and the expat community there, and obviously the one plane ride as opposed to a couple. So yes is a simple answer there. I think there's plentiful rugby talent. We're seeing it in New Zealand, where there's only the 5 franchises, but a mass playing population. They can only fit so many. So yeah, if it can be done out of New Zealand, I certainly do believe that it can be done out of South Africa as well.
Dan, I'm really interested in the pitch because you've got such a unique proposition, and you know from your time at the Storm, like they just did it so well that if there was a young player they wanted out of Queensland, they'd find out who his favourite player is. It might be Cameron Smith. He'd come and pick up his bags at the airport. They know what sort of food he'd like, if he'd like to go to a fancy restaurant or if you wanted something low key. Can you tell us a bit about the proposition that you're selling and how you do it, given that you're a long way from the East Coast and you're basically doing it all from scratch as well?
I think the first part of that jigsaw is having someone like Mal involved, who's so good with the cultural understanding side of things and the family side of things. And I know he's really big on making sure that everyone's really comfortable when they come across. And the West Australian Tourism have shown that they're very keen to work with us to make sure that we're promoting the state and all the good things that it has about it. And putting that well-being and the welfare space around the players and their families if they have kids, and taking them down to obviously the nice spots and wonderful beaches and the Margaret River, all those sort of things will be a benefit to us. But Mel's going to be a big draw card, no doubt, in its first instance, and we'll evolve that piece too, along with the tourism board over there.
Hey Dane, they've been pretty consistent with this, the NRL, when new teams have come into the competition with the Gold Coast Titans, then the Dolphins, and now yourself, and then PNG as well. And they've got some, I suppose, some fringe benefits that they're going to get.
Taxation benefits, yeah.
But from a Perth Bears point of view, no dispensation, same salary cap, no allowances compared to all the other clubs in the competition, I'm led to believe.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, so it's just status quo. Just we get on with it. I think if we worry too much about what we don't have, we'll miss the mark anyway. So we just need to play by the rules that we've been given, and maybe think outside the box a little bit on that. In terms of a lot of people suggest or believe that we can't be active right now, but if there's a player off contract for 2026 currently, then we can go and have those chats and discussions, and it may not be the big name players, but it's about building a squad. And Sats, you probably understand this better than most, is the bottom end of your roster is equally as valuable at the top sometimes, and we'll start the process of getting in front of some people early doors and trying to be a bit more strategic about things rather than worrying about not having dispensations or further incentives.
Great stuff. Well, mate, you've got an exciting journey ahead of you. I know you got no doubt about that as well. And you got a lot of fans that have texted in as well. We've got the West Coast Panthers saying very excited to have a team in Perth. We've got a regular listener, Braden, who lives in Perth. He's a mad rugby league supporter as well. So we know the fans are going to be there as well. So good luck on the next part of the journey. Thank you very much, mate. We really appreciate you coming on and giving us a bit of an update.
No, I appreciate it, guys. Thanks very much.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dane Campbell. He's the recruitment manager for the Perth Bears. That's our Lupium deep dive. Have you say 1300 01 1170. Who should be the top three players realistically they should go after? 0457 736 736. Within reason, of course. It's easy to say go and get Harry Grant or...
They have to be uncontracted as well. They have to be free agents.
Absolutely. Will Kennedy's still not signed.
Yeah,
as a Sharky. So, if he's a target, obviously he's got to do something in 2026. Who knows? But, have your say, like we said, 1300 01 1170. Well, up next, we're going to preview the do-or-die match between the Panthers and the Brisbane Broncos on a Sunday afternoon at Suncorp Stadium. Double header as well with the NRLW, the Broncos playing as well up against Newcastle. It's absolutely going to be humming Caxton Street all of Sunday tomorrow. We're going to talk about that and a whole lot more up next. Hey, that was great insight into the Perth Bears. Dane Campbell, I think it's one of his first interviews actually, after only being announced last week as well. He's got a big job at hand, but what I do know is that it's exciting. And you can use the new club, the excitement around a new club, to recruit new players. And he is right. It's about putting the right people in front of them and ensuring that it's more about the rugby league than the rugby league, I should say. I remember we were trying to sign some players at the Gold Coast Titans. We'd pick them up from the airport. We put them in a helicopter, and we'd fly them along the coastline from Coolangatta all the way to Stradbroke Island, turn around.
Wow.
And you'd see them with their partner, and they'd be elbowing their partner in the back seat going, how good's this? How good's this? So, but it's got to be, it is about the landscape. It is about the lifestyle. But the priority
But it's
is
about the rugby
the
league.
priority is the rugby league first and foremost. Yeah, exactly. So we've got plenty of text coming in about giving us their idea about what the top 3 players should be for the Perth Bears in a realistic world. And Cam says the Perth spine, Jai Gray, Munster, Burton, Lachlan Ilias. So, Cam, you're saying Lachlan Ilias is the hooker. That's interesting.
Kind of feels like something's going to give at Melbourne. Like they've just got so many big players off contract.
Yep.
They've got Pezzett sort of waiting in the wings that can potentially step up if one of them steps aside. So
Yep.
I don't know. I'd be, maybe Cameron Munster or the talk about him potentially going there.
Yeah.
I reckon it's a big show.
Well, Scotty, listening on the Gold Coast on holiday, said 3 players, number 1, Cam McGuinness, Tino and Tyron Wishart. Tyron Wishart's a good one. His stocks have gone up,
Yeah.
haven't they, since his involvement with injuries to that team. Hey, Saturday League kickoff, as we said, is all brought to you by Kogan Mobile, their low-price phone plans as well. Just go online and click out all their phone plans, and we're going to get to talk about this game very soon. And as we talk about some of these text messages as well, any idea why the Sharks didn't take the conversion after full time last night? Cost me a multi as I had the Sharks at plus 7.5.
That was strange, wasn't it? I mean, it would have been a hollow sort of feeling having to line one up while the Storm's celebrating a grand final win. But, yeah, if you backed them and got the margin wrong,
Yeah,
punter beware.
exactly. Frank from Bexley says, what do the Sharks need to do to change to the next step? They're a great team because now they didn't have any Origin players this year, which means they're a close unit, which is really special.
Fanua Blake's given them something they didn't have, right? So that's been terrific for them. I just feel that there's one lack of class that's an X factor where Melbourne had 3 or 4 last night. So whether it be Munster, it would be Harry Grant, it'd be Jerome, someone would do something. I just felt that when the game is there to be taken, they just,
I feel as though they need second phase. They need some second phase play to build a lot more momentum and build a lot more patience and, a lot more pressure just through just little offloads as well. And it's hard to do offloads and identify the players that you can bring into your squad to offload, but being able to build pressure for long periods of time, I feel as though they've been really good at that at the back end of the season. But yeah, I think they need some second phase play, I think. Yeah.
Well, Bradley's taken his game to another level.
Yep.
It's interesting that Kennedy's still unsigned, which is a key position.
Is that saying Nico's going to play 1 next year? I'm led to believe they can only offer him a certain amount of money. It's purely salary cap based. It's got nothing to do with the athlete.
Yeah.
It's purely about where their salary cap's at the moment.
But that you normally lock in the spine and then do all the other bits and pieces around it. Does that mean that they're not sure about him? I don't know.
I don't think they're not sure about him. I think they know what they get with him, and he's an exceptional player. It's just what he's worth on the open market is unfortunately not what they can afford. But hopefully they come to some conclusion as well. And if not, there is a Perth Bears team that would be willing to pay him market price if they're looking for a number 1 is he marquee elite level at the moment? Probably just off.
He's not there yet.
But he's still a really handy acquisition for a side because he's exceptional in everything that he does. Now, one more game to decide who's going to meet the Melbourne Storm in the grand final.
The Sunday preview for Australian Made. By Australian. Look for the Australian Made logo.
Yes, and before we do that, about one of our talking topics about the Perth Bears, Jason says the Perth Bears should sign a couple of top English players. I think they will, because there's always been this concern around the lack of talent and depth. There's plenty of talent. It's just about getting the top end first for a new club. You got to get the top end.
Yeah. Well, it's identifying it.
Yeah.
Like it's, the Rabbitohs took a punt on Lewis Dodd and that hasn't paid off.
Yep.
But that's not to say that there aren't good players there in key positions as well.
Exactly. We have got some text here about the Queensland Cup and the New South Wales Cup Grand Finals as well. How can you watch them? The New South Wales Cup Grand Final, I'm led to believe, Bar TV.
Yep.
And Queensland Cup Grand Final, KO. SENQ are covering it on radio as well. So plenty of ways to listen and watch the Queensland Cup Grand Final, which is today, actually at Redcliffe, and New South Wales Cup Grand Final tomorrow at CommBank Stadium with the Jersey Flegg Grand Final. I'm going to touch on that a little bit more later on. Now, let's get back to this. Grand Final qualifier, Broncos v Panthers, 4:05 kickoff. You can also listen to it on SEN, the league coverage from 3 p.m. and also watch it on KO and Fox League. Suncorp Stadium, like we're saying, Hobart's going to be basking in sunshine. It's a sellout crowd. Caxton Street will be closed. You know when Caxton Street's closed, there's something that's revolved around violence is about to happen at Suncorp Stadium. And this is what's going to play
As long
out.
as the violence doesn't happen on Caxton Street.
Exactly. That's what I was trying to allude to. It's all in Suncorp
It's
Stadium.
the reason why the Blues can't drive a bus through it anymore.
It's all on the field. It's not in the stands as well. So let's get that straight. Now, they've got to avenge their 2023 grand final defeat. There's so many narratives around the Brisbane Broncos winning. There's Madge proving to everyone, and he doesn't have to prove anyone wrong, but the optics from the outside are that Madge has got to win a grand final to prove all these people wrong that he's the right man for the Brisbane Broncos. We all know he's the right man because he's got them through to a grand final qualifier. Then there's the 10-year anniversary of Ben Hunt in the 2015 grand final. Can he erase that memory from his resume and become a premiership winner and lead the Broncos to a grand final? Then on the flip side of that, you've got this amazing team who is, without doubt one of the greatest teams we've seen in the history of the game, if not the greatest team under the salary cap era. So you've got two teams that play completely differently as well, AP.
I'm sort of torn because I want to see something different, a team other than Penrith and Melbourne playing the grand final. But at the same time, in 10, 20, 30 years' time, we'll be able to look back and say, we witnessed history. We witnessed a dynasty, a team that created something that no other team will ever replicate.
Yeah.
And I think we're seeing that now. In the salary cap era, to be able to do that, it's extraordinary. But I like what Madge has done, with Brisbane. Actually, I've done a feature on him for tomorrow's paper, and I had a chance to sit down with him when they were playing against Newcastle. They went to the Hunter Valley, and I went over there and had a sit down. And
see, a lot of people were critical about that, about going away for long periods of time. And I think before they played Newcastle, they
before
went,
the Knights game.
Was that one you're talking about?
Yep.
Yeah, sorry. A lot of people were critical about that, taking them away at that time of the year. But it's proven that you've got to keep rechecking yourself throughout the season.
Yeah. So the narrative that Madge has never been able to shape is this guy with this insatiable drive and passion for the game, and this just relentless do anything to win attitude. And I was sort of interested to see where that came from. And he took me back to when he was a player. He was only about 20 years old in 1994 when there was that great Canberra side, one of the greatest club teams ever assembled. So we're talking about guys like Daly, Stewart, Meninga, Wiki,
Mullins,
Noah
Nandruku, Kenny Nagus, Dave Furner.
One of the best club sides
Steve
ever
Walters.
assembled. And this guy who's sort of a utility back has worked his tail off all season, and he gets into the side right at the back end. And of course, this is a side that goes on and wins the grand final. And he's talking about how he was also doing a bit of work at Australian National University. It wasn't like a full-time gig for him, just playing footy. And he said, they invited me to this social soccer game, and I'm sort of standing in goals. I said, I'll do the right thing. And this guy slid in and basically studs up and taken him out. He doesn't play again that year. It was a really serious injury. And he falls out of a side that goes on and wins the comp. And he thinks these moments are so fleeting. The opportunity to do this as a player, it may never, ever happen again. And I think that that's something that's really resonated with him. It stayed with him. He doesn't want any other player to feel that. So I think that's why he goes the extra step. And whether it be he goes on study tours, he's just obsessive about learning from business people or other people that are successful in other fields. And he doesn't want players to play through the pain. He's actually got a career that was curtailed by injury. He's got all sorts of neck pain and stuff. And yes, he flogs them. He gives them he works them hard, but he's also mindful of making sure they're all right post-career in terms of their body as well.
Yeah. Yeah, he's an amazing guy. He knows what success looks like. He knows what an elite player looks like. And he knows what it takes to drive you to want to get there. But you've got to want to get there.
Yep.
If you don't want to get there, you'll fall out the back door really quickly with Michael Maguire.
Yep.
And there's nothing wrong with that. And you may find a coach that's better suited to you. That's just what sport is about. But he's a pretty special guy. And I've got to say the badge of honour for the Brisbane Broncos, I thought, was that when they go down to Canberra 2 weeks ago and they have 11 players on the field against the most exciting attacking team in the comp. And yeah, they concede some points.
Yep.
But they hold the team within range to a point where they can fight back and then go into extra time. So you got to remember those 11 players have had to do what they've done and work extra hard while those Paddy Carrigan and Reece Walsh are off. And then those players have then got to be asked to go for another 5, 10, 15 minutes, whatever it may be, to then go on and win the game. Says that this team physically, but emotionally, are really mature at the moment.
I think it's also a team that finding their identity has been a work in progress for them. Like, I think that they didn't know what they wanted to be at the start of the year. And then they probably got glimpses of what it needs to be, but they've been tested too. Like, they had that 4-game losing streak. They had a lot of guys kicking them when they were down. And that's when you waver. And then you decide, are we still in this? Can we still do what we want to do? And they've actualised it by getting to a prelim.
Then on the other side of the coin, you've got the Penrith Panthers. And I know Tori in Queensland says the dynasty has been done, boring, move on. We need to see someone else win it. Losing interest in games when it's the same old story. And I get, there's a lot of people that probably feel the same way, Tori, but there's part of me that also loves seeing a side that is so dominant and it's forcing everyone else to rise to them and try and get to that level. I think that's the art of being a great club and a great team. And Matty Cameron and Ivan Cleary have done an amazing job out there to build this club to the point where everyone aspires to be them. So there's part of me that the romantic part of rugby league says to me that I love that part of the game. I love what the Panthers throw out there. Now, what I love about the Panthers also is they stay quiet. They don't say anything. For a team that walks into stadiums with loudspeakers and they're flamboyant, they very rarely say too much leading into the game. But on the flip side, let's get to this. So we've got Reece Walsh.
How does he deal with us? That's the one question, mate. Nah, it's exciting. He's a world-class player, mate, and if you give him opportunities, he's going to take it. It's like the same as us. If they give us opportunities, we're going to take it. So I guess it's just trying to minimise those.
So that's Reece Walsh, of course, being asked about how do you handle Nathan Cleary, and his response is, how does he handle us? I love it.
Love it.
I love how brash he is. I love how confident he is. I mean, that's, as a media person, you're salivating with something like that.
Well, it's interesting because we went down there. I went to their open media day for the prelim, and it was kind of like speed dating, like, because it was literally like in the past we've had a bit more time with them, and probably in grand final you get to have a bit more one-on-one. But it's literally you have like 2.5 moments, like, you know, what do you do for a job? What do you like doing? Like, and then you sort of go to the next person. But it's just for them. They're so blasé about it. It's like, we've done this before. We know your story. You know that we know your story. Let's move on. We'll talk to you next week.
Yep. It is just a mouth-watering clash. I can't wait for this tomorrow. Again, you can listen to it on SEN League, of course, from 3 p.m. and KO and Fox League, who cover all the games as well. So it's one of those days. When I get home this afternoon, I'm just going to be in my board shorts. I won't leave the couch for a day and a half. There's the lower grade grand finals, the junior grand finals, junior reps grand finals. You've got the NRLW games as well, and then this game tomorrow. There's so much to look forward to, and the matchups right across Reynolds and Cleary as well. You've got Staggs and McLean, young Casey McLean. You've got the aggression of Staggs up against this teenager who's just lit the competition up. And we've got a few people who are questioning the depth of the Brisbane Broncos. Let's get to one of those. 1300 01 1170 is our open call line. And we've got Cam from Mount Isa who wants to talk about the Bronx. How are you, Cam?
Good, Sats. How are you, mate?
Going well. How's Mount Isa going? The seasons are starting to change. You in the singlets yet up there?
Mate, I don't live there anymore. I've been in Brisbane for 3 years now.
Okay, so the Broncos, you're concerned about the Broncos bench, am I right?
Yeah, just looking at it, I think Penrith have got them covered there with depth. You know, Henry, Papali, and Garner. I think that loss of Carrigan, I don't think they're going to be able to cover that with what they got.
Yep. Yeah, the work rate of Carrigan. It's going to be interesting. Tyson Smoothie named at number 13. So do you anticipate he'll try and play that same role that Paddy Carrigan does?
Oh, I'm not sure he can. He'll go and play his own game, I would say. But, and Kobe Hetherington on the bench, he's a goer. But, I don't know. I just think that Panthers bench is pretty good. Okay,
so, Cam, you're a Roosters man. But with the Roosters not being there, So you're saying it's going to be a Melbourne Panthers grand final again, like 2024. Is the result different, or do you think it may be the same result based on what you've seen so far?
I can't see anyone beating Penrith.
Yeah.
It's weird. Like everyone's spoken about how this is the most open comp we've had for a long time. Then we end up with the same finalists. But it shows how good they are.
Yeah, good stuff. Hey Cam, love your input each and every day into the SEM programs throughout the day. So love getting on the show. Thank you very much, mate. Enjoy the footy for the rest of the weekend. We're going to chat all things Warriors next with our very special guest, the Warriors CEO, Cam George, is going to join us. Yeah, welcome back to the show. Saturday League kickoff, live simulcast on Fox League and also through our entire SEN network. If you're listening on the radio or on the app, welcome to this Saturday morning, and thanks to Daft Trucks. Keep you moving, and that's always good for business if you keep moving. It's good in life, isn't it, if you keep moving? You can't just sit around. People just overtake you.
Morning walk this morning?
My morning walk, I keep saying that if there was a hitman out there trying to take me out, I'm a creature of habit. It's very easy for me on a Saturday morning just to sit in the same spot at the same time. I'm eventually going to walk past you and you just take me out.
All the hitmen out there, take notice.
So thanks to Daft Trucks for keeping everyone moving. We are trying to get hold of Cameron George, the New Zealand Warriors CEO. Until we get to him, let's talk about some of the games that are coming up over the weekend, because we have got the NRLW Grand Final qualifiers, Roosters v Sharks at Central Coast, and then we've got the Brisbane Broncos up against the Newcastle Knights Sunday as that part of that double header at Suncorp Stadium. What a great day for tomorrow. This Roosters side have gone through the season undefeated. They've been exceptional. They've lost Taryn Aiken.
Yep.
Jocelyn Kelleher, their number 7 tomorrow, has been wearing number 6 since Taryn Aiken was back. She's been a big reason why this team has continued just to forge through this season. And now that Taryn Aiken is out, Corbin Baxter comes back into the side. So everyone keeps saying this is just a Brisbane Broncos Roosters comp to win. But as we see in finals, there's always
strange things can happen.
Yeah, exactly. Especially with the Roosters. A couple of injuries. I think there's a suspension as well. So things could play it differently. Not quite sure. That's what we love about finals footy. But then we look at. I can't wait for this one. The Brisbane Broncos, Newcastle Knights. Jessie Southwell. She's an exceptional player. We know how Joey Johns, how he always waxes lyrical about her and the amount of work that he's done with her as well. And it's going to be a couple of mouth-watering battles. Now, New South Wales Cup Grand Final, New Zealand Warriors up against the Dragons as well. And this is a great clash because both these teams have won a lot of games over a large period of the season as well. This Warriors team have been completely dominant throughout this New South Wales Cup and knock-on effect Cup season. And we're going to talk about them and some of what's going on with that Pathways program and the success of their first grade team over the last few years as well with their CEO, Cameron George, who is joining us on Saturday League Kickoff. Good for you to join us, Cam. How are you, mate?
Good morning, Sats. Yeah, I'm well, thank you. Yourself?
Going very well. And, of course, unfortunately, the season finished a lot earlier than what you anticipated, Cam. But club reviews have been finalised now. What's been the makeup of all those reviews?
Well, there's so many different ways you can measure the season, isn't there? But there's no greater way than your win-loss ratio. And you want to be in the finals first and foremost, and then you want to be playing next weekend. But, we fell a bit short, and we've identified some areas that we all can improve in and, from any number of metrics. But at the end of the day, we just got to win more footy games. And we've got a good footy team. We've had a lot of young kids this year, probably play before their time, but injuries brought that on, which is good and bad. That'll give us benefits moving forward. And I think, we've got a good squad, pretty stable. We've only got one spot and, we'll see what that brings. But, yeah, happy with the year, but we all know we could have done better.
Cam, it's Adrian Proszenko. Obviously, the ability to get to the finals without Mitch Barnett and Luke Metcalf. You talked about the depth being tested, but the fact that you got there without those key position players, it says a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. And if you look throughout the whole season, There was a period there where we didn't have James Fisher-Harris as well, and our centres, Rocco Berry and the likes were also missing. And, there's been a number of moving parts to it. But at the end of the day, we all know we sign footy players, and their job is and the coach's job is to win footy games, and we just got to win more. But I'm really proud of the group we've got and the growth within it, and looking forward to the next couple of seasons.
Cam, you talk about proud of some of those young players and maybe playing a role well ahead of their time. But young Leka Halasima, who's expected to be named Rookie of the Year, and there's Robert Toyer and a couple of others that will be nominated. But did you foresee as a club him making such an impact so early?
It's easy for me to say yes now, but look, in all honesty, you know very well, Sats, the difference between playing juniors and being a star at that level to stepping up in the NRL is just a massive, massive step. But only very few can handle it so quickly. And look, he was dominant as a kid in New South Wales Cup, let alone Jersey Flag. And we stopped him playing SG ball because he was just too above that level. Just, to be honest, wasn't fair. So he went straight into New South Wales Cup, and he was dominant there at 17. So whilst it hasn't been a surprise on talent alone, it's really, I'm really proud of the way that he's sort of the effort areas now has come into his game, and he's really becoming professional, and that's what it takes to, be a top line player. And, he's really brought that to his game now, which is, everyone's seeing it, which is great.
Cam, can you paint us a picture about the Wales movement in New Zealand? Just the crowds are, so many sellouts. There's a real community feel behind the team. Just can you tell us a little bit about the support that you've got?
Yeah, it's huge. Our whole team in the office has done a great job in reconnecting with New Zealand, and that was our mandate and focus from the minute we got back in 2023, and naturally winning footy games helps that. But the movement's been so great, and, we are constantly fielding phone calls around, cities in New Zealand wanting us to play there for obvious reasons. And, some of the deals are being provided now is just, amazing for a footy club. And next year off to Christchurch, and we play in Wellington on Anzac Day, and we've got a trial game that will be in Napier, and the whole country wants to sort of connect with us now, which is great. We've got a long way to go, but I can tell you if and when we win the premiership, it'll just ignite a whole new world of rugby league fans and players.
Yeah, well,
from the Pacific and New Zealand.
It doesn't finish, Cam, for you as a club, because as we know, the New South Wales Cup knock-on effect grand final this weekend up against the Dragons. Tomorrow you got the Premiers in the Harold Matts 17s, which is so exciting with the depth of the club. What was the secret to getting that system working again?
Just getting it back on deck. Sats, like, during 2020 and 2023, we had no junior teams, so development in rugby league just stopped under our banner in New Zealand, and so there was no opportunity for kids. So we reignited that with with Andrew McFadden coming in as our head of pathways and recruitment, and he's brought to the table a lot of knowledge and understanding of how that should look. And with him and Webby's passion and myself and the owner and everyone, we just really wanted to get the kids of New Zealand thinking rugby league first and foremost. And secondly, if they wanted to do it, there was a pathway at home for them to do it. And we're seeing with those results you just touched on, mate, we're seeing a lot of kids now starting to want to wear the Warriors jumper in New Zealand, which hasn't been the case for many, many years because of various reasons.
Cam, can I ask you about Rugby 360? We'll probably know in the next couple of weeks whether that competition's a going concern. Is it a concern for rugby league? Is it a concern for the New Zealand Warriors that potentially you could be losing some players like the likes potentially of Roger Tuivasa-Sheck?
I think, in fairness, I don't think rugby league should be stressing too much about it, but you've got to be aware of it. Anything new that comes to the table like that, any one of our clubs in the NRL, will be subject to some players being tapped on the shoulder. And as long as we're aware of it, as long as, the game itself is looking at it as a whole and going, well, collectively, do we need to be more proactive in certain areas? But look, it'll be what it'll be. I genuinely think, despite what some people say, it's got a lot of legs, and I think it is coming to life. But I wouldn't, I'd be more worried if I was New Zealand rugby and the likes rather than rugby league. But that said, I'm sure they'll go after a few of our superstars. But, that's life. We just got to be aware of it and try and be ahead of the game.
Well, Cam, New Zealand Warriors are our club in focus today. Thank you very much, mate. You're always giving with your time. We know how much you're a real community CEO, and we love the drive that's behind that community out there. We've got a lot of Kiwi listeners through SEN that listen to the show each and every day as well. And like I said, it's not finished for you. You've got an exciting day tomorrow at Combank Stadium with your New South Wales Cup team trying to take out that trophy. So thank you very much, mate. Enjoy tomorrow, and hopefully see you over the next couple of weeks.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate your support, and all the best to you, buddy, too, on your new journey. And we look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you very much, Cam. I promise not to steal too many of your players. And let's get to a break here on the Saturday League kickoff. Welcome back to the show. That's it. Well, we've got a little bit more to go, and we're going to read out some of your texts. I just got reminded that it's Daylight Savings next week. Saving, not savings. So a little bit of shot at Pete, our panel op, who hates the word savings.
I know. How good is it? It's the best time of year.
Yeah. Yeah, when are the Queenslanders going to get on board? Yeah.
Like most things, 30 years later.
Yeah. We've won more Origins, so it doesn't count.
Right.
Hey, welcome back to Saturday League Kickoff. Of course, simulcast live on Fox Lead and live on SEN as well. And it's that time again to give some wingers some love.
Winger appreciation. Turn up the volume. Turn up the flavour. Wings, beers and sporting glory. Only at Winghouse.
Can you get excited about it?
I can't.
Come on.
I can't get excited. No, I'm only joking. Got to appreciate the wingers. Shout out to you, Matt Rogers. Now, wingers appreciation. I do want to give one winger appreciation to Luke Burt, 300 gamer, Parramatta Eels. He's coaching the Burleigh Bears today at Redcliffe KO Stadium. So the Burleigh Bears going up against the Norse Devils, who are coached by Rowan Smith, son of Brian Smith. Has had great success in the Queensland Cup. He went over to England to coach as well. Highly detailed in his coaching. A really good coach, Rowan Smith. And he's won comps there at Norse Devils. And Luke Burt's got the opportunity to take Burleigh to a premiership as well. So winger appreciation there for Luke Burt. Now, our other winger appreciations.
What about wingers who actually are playing football at the moment?
Yeah, okay.
What about...
Yeah.
Well, Xavier Coates, superstar.
Yep.
Obviously, Will Warbrick as well. Katoa, a couple of tries. What about Paul Alamotti? Here's a guy who was like playing reserve grade for most of the year. And Tom Jenkins was flying too.
So winger appreciation to Thomas Jenkins as well.
I mean, he's a big reason why they are where they are at the moment. And it was a massive call for Ivan Cleary to say, no, Paul Alamotti, you're the guy at this time of the year. And he hasn't let anyone down. It was 3 tries last week, killing it.
Going great. You know what we haven't seen of, there's been the last few weeks with the Melbourne Storm using their 2 big wingers. We got a text here about Will Warbrick under the high ball last night, which was amazing. Is that with Coates being that target for the high ball, there's teams that are defending it really well now.
Yeah.
They're not deliberately getting in his way, but they're doing enough just to sort of deviate his run.
Well, a couple of times Cronulla let him catch the ball, and as soon as his feet hit the ground, they smashed him straight away. So it was just getting the timing of the chase right.
Yeah, so last night, Katoa, 2 tries, and Will Warbrick and Coates tries as well. That last try to seal it, Jack Howarth did a great job. Harry Grant out of dummy half. And it was also Sean Blaw, catch, pass, and Jack Howarth just kept double pumping the ball and kept the defence off him.
Good.
And then, released Xavier Coates. It was a great finish to the game. And at a sold-out Amy Park as well, it's one of the great stadiums. As we said, some great appreciation to all the rugby league across the weekend. There's so many games to be played. Hi guys, I'm an avid North Sydney fan. I'm looking forward to 27 season. My dad is in his 80th year. Cannot wait. He's like a little kid in a lolly shop. We are massive family supporters of North Sydney Bears and cannot wait for the Perth Bears. Just wondering on your thoughts of how this venture will go. Cheers, Matt. Well, Matty, it'll come down to the man we just spoke to, Dane Campbell. It'll come down to the recruits that they're able to sign, what sort of marquee players they got as well, and the staff around it as well. The general manager of rugby league, the appointment is I think it's a really astute one for first year, with the amount of background that he's got in operations and law enforcement. I think a lot of the decisions they're making so far are really smart ones.
And it's about the marriage, right?
Yep.
So he mentioned, most importantly, Dane was talking about the North Sydney route. So there's obviously a pathway there, and there also has to be a pathway for young aspiring Western Australians. So it's not just all about AFL. It's like, hello, we've got this game here that you can rise to the top level.
Exactly. Now, Sharks have a good hooker, decent halves, and a decent go forward, probably short of strike centre. With Sifa Talakai was out on an edge and railroading defences, they were unstoppable. They need to recreate that, Jared says. I think, Jesse Ramian and Kale Iro,
they're strike centres.
Pretty fair centres. Kale Iro is going to be a genuine strike centre. If not, he's won already. Didn't go his way last night.
I take the point. It just feels like there's something missing, isn't there?
Yeah. You just can't put your finger on it. Hi, Sats. I feel bad for the Sharks. They had to play knockout footy in the finals. However, had the Panthers not rested all the players against the Dogs, they would have finished top 4. They most likely get the week off. What do you think? From Neil.
You finish where you deserve.
You finish how it all plays out.
Yeah.
Did they deserve to finish in the top 4? Well, the way they finished the season off, yes, they did. But the way that the Penrith Panthers finished their season off and resting players, it allowed. So you just finish where, unfortunately,
I still think they're
dice rolls
leaps ahead of where they were 12 months ago.
Yep.
I've seen enough improvement. They took the Storm to the wire.
They did,
The final scoreline flattered the Storm.
I thought last night's game, I thought the Sharkies, and I thought Craig Fitzgibbon handled the post-match press conference perfectly. But what I can say is that they're not far away.
Yeah.
They're not far away. They want great respect, and you can only get that as a premier, he says. They're in that credibility stage at the moment. So there's still a lot to do, but they're closer. They're a lot closer to the Cronulla Sharks. Hey, thank you very much. That's all we've got time for today. Thanks to our team at Fox League, all our SEN listeners as well. And thanks for joining us on Saturday for Saturday League Kickoff. Plenty of rugby league that starts today. Started last night and it continues today as well. Enjoy everything across the weekend when it comes to your rugby league.